So Ricardo Sanchez Lopez joins me now. You are Director of Sustainable Food Security for the Latin American Conservation Council. You've just been a panelist at the Forum for the Future of Agriculture and you've been looking at food security, innovation, all the kind of things that we were talking about today, looking at producing more, inputting less, and the pressure that creates on farmers. From your point of view, Ricardo, what was interesting about what you heard in the session this morning?
Alexandra, thank you very much, and thank you for this kind invitation. I do think that the most important takeaway point is that not only in Europe but worldwide, we can actually integrate finally the environment with agricultural production without harnessing profitability of the farms, protecting a lot of forests, of watersheds, of soil, and the importance actually of bringing together science, bringing farmers, bringing policymakers. I think that's a major takeaway. We actually have the possibility to integrate and make it happening. I think the markets are reacting to this type of production, sustainable production, and taking the advantage that this is the year that the soils, the important here, you hear the FFA, soil is a very important, not only for production, but to maintain the biodiversity and agro-biodiversity of the ecosystem. So I do think it's a fantastic opportunity to actually make sure that things are happening on the right place.
What have you heard that's new perhaps, or how does the debate move on? Because we've talked before at the forum about soil not being a machine, for example, looking at environmental performance being absolutely key to everything farmers do when we talk about sustainable intensification.
We had the opportunity to actually share the views that Commissioner Phil Hogan shared with us. I do think it's now part of the internal agricultural policy, not only the soil issue, but also like the value chain approach, the consumer engagement with the produce. So I do think finally I am seeing, coming from Latin America, a whole value chain approach from the producer, even before the producer, all the seeds and all the landscape management, towards the final consumer. So I do think finally we're seeing this green light in the...
So it's a more sophisticated debate, would you say? We've moved on. When we think of South America, we think of displacement of smallholders from the monocultures and the controversy of soy, for example. Now we're moving on, as you say, to look at, before we get to planting those seeds, and after, to consumers, what they consume, what they waste. So it is a broader debate now.
It is, and now that you mentioned, for example, the monoculture debate, and me working for an NGO and for the Latin American Conservation Council, we do worry about the monoculture presence because there's a lot of soil depletion. Yesterday I was actually reading in Brazil, the monoculture of soya is also causing some soil depletion. There starts to be some stagnation of the productivity of the soya, and even there's a presence of diseases that before were not there, just basically because of the monoculture and the use of no crop rotation. So I do think, like, if we do not use the crop rotation strategies as we expect, we will have some problems in certain monocultures, especially in Brazil and Argentina or Paraguay.
And I know one of the very interesting topics that was raised in the forum just now was the idea of reliability of supply and distribution, looking at the way Europe can help feed the world, and we're looking at the UN Sustainable Development Goals today, looking at that sense of hunger being such a scandal still in the world. Reliability of supply was important, and you gave a South American view there.
Indeed, and I do think Europe will be a very important player, not only in the supply side, but also on the quality side. Europe has a lot to share with us in Latin America to see how we can also protect the consumer, how we can actually work in the quality side aspects. And in Latin America, for example, we have been always being seen as a very steady producer because of our tropical structure. Well, climate change has also hit Latin American countries. And I guess we still need to be prepared to actually face these climate change problems, not only through risk management, but also to adapt our agriculture. For many years, we thought we will never be hit by climate change. We thought it was also only for European countries, but for the past 10 or 20 years, we have been really facing climate change. So, I think it's time to work together.
Ricardo Sanchez Lopez, thank you very much for joining us, and enjoy the rest of the forum today.
Thank you very much for your invitation. Thank you.